Hello, parents on Path to Parenting Harmony. This is Dr. Susan Blumberg, and this is my Monday Facebook Live coming to you from Denver, Colorado. Last week, we talked about some ways to help increase resilience in your tweens and teens. And today, I want to give you a few more important strategies. One of the most important things we talked about is to stop rescuing our children. This is so hard for parents. We see them struggling, whether it's with their homework, in a social situation with another child, or even just with simple tasks like clean their room or picking up after themselves. And yet I say to parents all the time, stop rescuing them. Let them figure it out themselves. But if we're going to have them be successful at figuring things out themselves, we have to teach them problem-solving skills. We have to teach them how to brainstorm possible solutions to situations, and then we have to help them work out solutions to problems. So how do we go about doing this? How do we teach our kids this valuable skill that will carry them into adulthood? So let's think about how we learn to problem solve. What did your parents do when you couldn't figure out your homework? There's a couple ways that parents manage this. Parents who rescue their children review their homework every single day and say problems 2, 4, and 9 are incorrect. Go back and do it correctly. And if you can't figure it out as the child, they sit down and work through the math problem with them. So what's wrong with this approach, you might ask? I'm teaching them how to do the math program. Well, there are two problems with this approach. First is you've already done 4th grade or 9th grade or maybe 11th grade, and you don't really need to do it again. Second, when your child turns in 100% correct homework day after day after day, what does the teacher think? The teacher thinks that your child has learned how to do all these tasks in school. They don't realize that you're being the teacher at home every night and doing the school's job for them. And so if you want the school to really get a good picture of what it is your child is learning in school, you have to be able to send your child to school with incorrect homework. I know, just devastating, but super important, especially if you have a child with a special need who needs to be learning this material from their teachers at school. Whether that's the general education teacher or the learning specialist, they need to know exactly what your child is learning within the confines of the school setting, because they want them to be able to learn it within that time frame and by those specialists, not from you at home. And your child is exhausted by the time they come home, particularly if they do have learning difficulties, but even a neurotypical kid, and they don't want to have any more school time at home. They want it to be over. So what we do instead is we say to our child, use the strategies you've learned at school this day. Does your school book or textbook have a problem-solving section where they review the problems for you? Do they have a graph or a section of explanation where they can review the problems? Do you have a friend in school that you can call? Do you have a buddy that you're supposed to work out the homework with? Do you have a small group or study guide that your teacher has sent home? By reminding your child of these tools, you're teaching them important problem-solving tools that they can use to brainstorm and figure out the problem themselves. Same with social issues. When we say, okay, we're going to separate you into separate corners, or you're going to go first and then you're going to go second, and we're going to sit here and monitor and make sure that this play date goes well, we're depriving our children of the opportunity to work things out for themselves. I have told you many times the story of that when my children would fight, they would come to me and tattletale on each other. And you know, you're going to say it with me, if mom gets involved, you're not going to like the result. Because, of course, I would say you were fighting, you both go to your rooms for quiet time now. not for time out or punishment, but quiet time because they were unable to play together well. If they work it out themselves and I don't have to get involved, they got to continue to play together. They could figure out ways to manage their own conflict and learn resilience, how to bounce back from a problem. The next strategy to improve resilience I want to teach you is a really easy one. It's called label emotions. So many kids only know a few basic emotions, and maybe you as the adult only know a few basic ones too. We all know happy, sad, mad. Maybe we know frustrated or annoyed, maybe. But few of us understand joy, real pleasure in something wonderful happening. Maybe seeing a beautiful sunrise. Maybe seeing our children playing together well brings so much joy to my heart as a parent. Maybe we don't really understand what frustration means for our children, but we can identify that for them after we see them working really hard for 10 minutes or so on that math problem and they can't figure it out. Let's help them identify that that feeling is frustration before we explain to them how to manage it through the problem-solving techniques I've already explained. Teenagers are notoriously unable to identify the feelings they have. That's why emo music exists. We have all gone through periods of time as teens, come on, admit it, where listening to music was the way we identified our feelings. Those sad ballads back in the 70s, that was my era. I'm sorry to tell you how old I am. But even now, listening to rap music, listening to hip hop, listening to pop music, listening to Taylor Swift for your breakup song, those are the ways that teens identify their feelings. And by giving them the labels for their emotions, we're helping them learn to be better adults. Lastly, as adults, we have to demonstrate coping skills. What happens when something goes wrong for us? All right, the meat didn't get defrosted. What are we going to cook for dinner? When we bring them in to help us and we show them how we cope with a difficult situation, hopefully calmly, hopefully successfully, we're teaching our kids coping skills. Not everything is a disaster. We can bring success out of a difficult situation. We can show them that even as adults, not everything goes right. We can cope. What do? We can learn how to take a deep breath by counting to 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and hold 2, 3, 4. Breathe out. 3, 4. Calm ourselves, show our child it's working, and teach them that that's a strategy that works for us, not just one we're teaching to them. We can show them the physical relaxation techniques that we use to shake it off and stretch when we're feeling anxious and our muscles are tight. We can use mindfulness exercises to calm ourselves and demonstrate those to our children and teens. And there are useful apps for our smartphones, such as the one called Calm that teaches mindfulness. There's one that my son showed me when he was feeling great anxiety called Pixels. You can pick the color of the happy or unhappy smiley face and journal how you're feeling in order to be able to get control over your emotions. So all of these coping skills can also help our own kids learn how to develop resilience when things are difficult. I hope these new strategies are ones that you'll start trying with your own kids. Please give me some feedback. Let me know if any of these strategies feel like they're working for you, or if you already use them, and what's the most successful for your children or teenagers. Check back here every Monday at 11:45 Mountain Time, 11:45 Eastern Time, for my weekly Facebook Lives. And remember, my free parent workshops, the next one is this Thursday, April 22nd. You can use the link in my posts here or go straight to Eventbrite. How to help your kids get stuff done is being redesigned, and this week, starting on Thursday, we'll have 25 minutes of presentation with 4 takeaways and a full 50 minutes of deep dive coaching on the important issues that are facing you and your family. Please join me this Thursday. Even if you've attended one of my workshops before, this one is going to be really exciting. Hope to talk to you soon. Take care. This is Susan.